Riley Ficklin McLean, welcome, WYLCOME.com. And we're talking about verb tenses and verb rules, and we're talking about Spanish rules. How Spanish how Spanish structure its tenses. We talked about the present indicative. Now we're going to talk about the present progressive. The reason I'm sighing is that now we're entering into the territory that you can't easily translate. So in Spanish, you do it one way, and in English, you do it another way. And this is when I am glad that I learned a lot of this stuff naturally when I was abroad, because it makes sense to me. Now, in the beginning, it didn't. I cried many a night saying, what are they talking about? I don't know why they didn't say it this way and they said it that way, because I was thinking in English. And when you are learning another language, no matter how hard it is, you must learn to think in the language that you are speaking, not the language which is your own language. It would be like trying to speak English and translating into Spanish. You wouldn't do that. Why? Because Spanish is not your language. And someone who's lucky enough, and I call these lucky people who are lucky enough to be born into a multilingual family, it would never occur to them to translate from one language to the other language to the other language. They would, when they're thinking in one language, that's the language they would think in, and they would never try to translate it. So the present progressive can be rather complicated. In English, it's not. Well, it doesn't seem to be. Maybe it is if you break it down and you talk about it like I'm doing about the present progressive in Spanish. But in Spanish, the present progressive can be complicated. And many times when we use the present progressive, in Spanish, you do not. So I'm going to read the card, read the examples, and if I feel that more explanation is necessary, I'll give it. If not, I'll just move on. But I'm only going to do 2 cards. There's about, I don't know, maybe about 8 cards on the present progressive, but I'm not going to do all 8 together. I'm going to do maybe one. Sometimes I'm only going to do just 1 card for a video. The present progressive is not used in Spanish as it is used in English. In English, the present progressive can be used to denote a future action. That is not true in Spanish. For example, I am dining with my family this evening. You can't do that in Spanish. Or especially, I am going to. What you have is the subject, you have the verb to be, and you have the present participle going. Because when a verb ends in the ing form, and we're talking about tenses, the going, dining, playing, speaking, that is called the present participle. So I am going to call you. That's English. That means in the future, I'm going to call you, okay? Or I will call, but it means a little bit different in English. And I will call versus I'm going to call. In Spanish, you would only say te voy a llamar. Te voy a llamar. You don't use the present participle of the verb to go. In English, verbs of motion are used freely in the present progressive. That is not the same as in Spanish. They are rarely used in the present progressive. They're rarely used in the tenses, the progressive tenses. He's just called. He's just called. He's coming. Acabo de llamar. He just called. Acabo de llamar. And Okay, let me do that. Let me start all over again, because that's one sentence. Please excuse me. I'll start all over again. He's just called, okay? Or he has just called, excuse me. He's just called, he has just called, he's coming. So, acabo de llamar, which is the present indicative, but that's not what we're looking at today. We're looking at the present progressive. He's coming, that's in blue, ya viene. You wouldn't say, let me see, how would you do that? Ya él está viniendo. That's why I'm glad I lived in the country, because that sounds horrible to me. But I think if Spanish was just theory for me, abstract, it would sound fine. But because over how many years and thousands of times I hear ya viene, ya viene, ya viene, that sounds normal to me. It sounds right to me. So he's coming in Spanish would be ya viene. ¿Con quién vas a la escuela? You don't say with whom, who you going to school with, but I'm translating it correctly. With whom are you going to school? You see the are and you see the going in the present participle. And in Spanish, it's just con quién vas a la escuela. So where in English, you're using the present perfect tense, or you're using the progressive tenses, one of the progressive tenses. In Spanish, you just use the what do you call it? The present indicative. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Once again, the present progressive is not used in Spanish as it is used in English. In Spanish, the present progressive can only refer to an action that is actually at the moment in progress. To use the present progressive, an action must be actually perceived to be in action. So if I say está lloviendo, I must know. I'm looking outside my window and I am seeing that it rains. Here's an example. Prenda la televisión, a ver si Obama habla de lo que había pasado. Okay, so you're going to turn on the television to see if Obama is talking about what had happened or what happened. The present indicative is used in Spanish because the speaker does not know if the action is actually happened because he hasn't turned on or she hasn't turned on the television. So the present indicative is used because the speaker does not know if the action is actually happening at the moment. In English, the sentence would be, turn on the television or TV to see if Obama is talking about what happened. In English, you don't need to know that the action is in process. In Spanish, you do. Otherwise, you use the simple present tense or the present indicative. So once again, to round it up, you can't use the present progressive tense in Spanish like you do in English. To be going to, which is a form of the future, but using the structure of the present progressive, you can't do that. That is incorrect Spanish. That's the structure is incorrect. Correct. You just use the simple present tense. He's coming. Ya viene. Okay. I'm going to call. I'm going to call you. Te voy a llamar. You do not use the present progressive. That sounds weird to me. I don't know how you would do it. I don't even know how you would do it. It sounds, in Spanish, you do it one way. In English, you do it an entirely different way. And the second card, looking at the present progressive, we're talking about the only time you can use the present progressive in this sense, as the present progressive in the way that we use it in English, it's only when you know the action is actually happening at the moment. Right? Not the way we use it in English, when even though you are not sure the action is happening, you think the action is happening to see if Obama is talking. Well, if you don't know if Obama is talking about what had happened or what happened or what has happened, then you don't use the present progressive. You use the simple present tense. I've practiced this and practiced this because now I'm talking about when you can't translate from one present progressive in English to present progressive in Spanish and vice versa. The structures are different because the way the language is understood is different. I'm going to leave it at that and come back with another video still talking about the present progressive. So I want to thank you. I hope this is of help. I hope I was clear. And I hope that you would be able to subscribe to my channel so I can get as many subscriptions as possible. You understand the importance of subscription and how it allows a person to go from obscurity to something that a site or a channel that more people know about. So thank you. I'm going to stop sharing. I want to thank you again and have a good day. Bye-bye.